Alright, what's up guys? This video is a little chopped up right now. Outside it's raining, so while it's raining I'm taking a break to make an intro for the video, but I've got the car halfway apart. Today we're doing the BMR suspension upgrade. I finally had like a small open in the weather, so today we're gonna get it done. BMR, I had a couple parts on back order. Everything's finally here. So we are going to be doing everything but the upper control arm and the rear toe. I reached out to BMR, shout out to Glenn. Glenn, thank you for all the information and everything. As far as getting suspension components ready to install, figuring out what I need to do. So I think we're there. These components, as you can see, I will try to block out my face here. Very, very high quality. I'm not sure particular what the construction of the tubing is, but they are strong. As a matter of fact, they are gusseted. If I can get it to focus, there you go. They are gusseted at the bottom, right here in the fork, so just added strength. Not to mention it kind of looks cool too. I guess I'll go ahead and point it out. Here is the OE. Let me block out my face there. Now the knuckle on the car actually has another rubber bushing just like so, and these rubber bushings, they're good and bad. They're good if you want ride quality and smoothness. They're bad if you're trying to transfer power, large amounts of power, to the rear end and get it to hook to the ground. Now the nice part about this BMR setup is this side will still have a rubber, but this side is 100% what they call a spherical bearing. Every one of these links with the spherical bearings have shrink wrap, and you'll notice pretty strong. Whatever you're using there at BMR, shout out to you, but if you'll notice the spherical bearing, they do have replaceable bushings. Bushings, spacers, bearings, I don't know what you want to technically call these, but that is kind of nice to have, because if something does wear out, get wonky, egged out, whatever, you can replace them instead of buying the whole freaking link. So good on BMR for that. And also, if you're wondering that once you get the components off and everything swapped out and everything apart, how to get this thing actually close, well, what I have done is I have taken the factory bolts out of one link. I just took the factory bolts without the nuts, and I am actually going to put it through the OE. You'll have just a little bit sticking out, and it's just enough to go ahead, and from there, you know the mounting point, center lot, and you just back this one out to where it's about close. Make sure that this is center, and then you can stick. I mean, obviously this isn't 100% correct, but you can go ahead and stick the bolt through there. That way you've got the mounting point on. That's just a little tip I came up with as far as putting it back together, reassembling the car, and just getting it close enough to be able to put on the rack and get the alignment done. So you are going to need to find a shop that has the capabilities and the specs to actually the rear end back in alignment. I want to explain why I went with the setup which I did. They do have an on-car setup. It's like a big piece of all thread, and it has a big jam nut in the center of it to which you can twist, and you know, you ain't got to take this end loose or this end loose. While it's on the car, you can just go ahead and set the adjustments and fine tune it the way it needs to be. That setup is for people that have like race car, and if you're going to be taking the car to the track and different tracks, and you need to leave it on the car, and if you're going to be changing configurations, changing wheels, changing this and changing that all the time, that's the link that you need. Now they do have a non-adjustable, pretty much kind of like this one, except it is square. I want to say chrome moly, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's stainless. I'm not sure. It's really not that heavy. I'll have to reach out to BMR. It is about $50 cheaper per link, so you can save quite a bit of money by going with the non-adjustable. In my mind, I'm thinking, is it set up to where the factory spec is? Yes, probably. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, but what if it's not? And if I ever want to lower the car, if I ever want to change anything, this is the way to go. So we're gonna get these put on the car as soon as it quits raining here. We're gonna go for a test drive, and other than that, I will go ahead and take you back in time, and I'm going to put in a video of when I first started working on the car this morning. Okay guys, before I get started here, I will say I kind of want to go through the upper control arm. You can see it is boxed in, so I think a little rusty there. For those of you who don't know, you have your rear toe bar, the lower control arm, which houses the coil spring and the shock. Then you have the upper control arm, you have the upper trailing arm, then you have the lower trailing arm. That's a 5-link. So these, I'm gonna guess, are made out of, I mean, obviously they're stamped steel, right? But you can see like the bushings, it's absorbing a lot of power, deflection, vibration. I mean, the vibration gives for a good smooth ride, but these little cheap, I'm gonna guess 18 gauge, maximum 16 gauge steel. So yeah, everything is gonna be dramatically stiffened up with a cylinder, like a tube style with no rubber bushings. It's just gonna have this, what they call a spherical bearing. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, we'll get this underway. And yeah, as you can see, the rear cradle, we're gonna do that lockout kit as well. Hope you see. So right here's where it's gonna keep that cradle from moving. Hopefully it'll be a good hybrid between the 1LE and the ZL1. It's gonna be a good fusion of both suspension types. So still gonna keep the mag ride. I might do the sway bar links too, maybe some stiffer sway bars with some bushings. But yeah, hopefully this will be a good hybrid setup, and it'll give me a decent ride with the mag ride, but yet put all the power to the ground. So I'm gonna get started here. The weather was trash yesterday. It's horrible. The wind is just, dude, it's freaking sailing today. So I mean, it's not like this is much better, but it is in a way better. So it's still 57 degrees. So, and I'm telling you, this tire is bald. So I'm not gonna be pushing it too hard, but I did want to get out and get a test drive in and like see what the difference is. I did end up bailing on the 373 ELSD. I kind of wanted to do it all in one go, but I'm willing to take the exhaust off and do like another, I'm not trying to milk content, but I was running out of daylight and I just didn't have it in me. So it's only like 20, well, when you're doing it the hard way with hand tools like I am, because I've got rid of my shop now, so I'm doing it all the hard way with hand tools, it's like 15 minutes to take the exhaust off by yourself. So the differences are incredible. It's insane, the differences that this BMR stuff made. So we did the cradle lockout and we did the upper and lower trailing arms. Now I can't help but think that the rear toe, that toe link or toe rod, whatever they call it, I have to look on the website, but damn, dude. So anytime you see that, you guys will notice that flashing orange light, traction control, but the car is just dead straight now. Like there's no, before it would, like, if you're thinking of the chassis, the car would just like kick to the either side. But now the car just hooks dead ass straight, and I love it. This thing is just, we got fourth. You can, make sure this isn't a cop. Out here, you never know. You really gotta be careful. So it's just, yeah. See, somebody's already been. but you just never know like what you're gonna get into as far as like being out here in the country. So sometimes you'll be like left alone, and then sometimes it's, you know, you're just walking right into it. So I mean, fourth grab, it's just dead straight now. I love it. This thing is just worth every freaking penny. The cradle lockout was a little expensive, I will say, at like $300 and some for what you get, because it's made out of this Delrin or Delphin, I can't remember the name. I'll put it up on the screen here, but it's just a couple bushings that you put in that take up the void of space to keep the actual rubber piece, allowing the center rubber piece from moving around. So it does exactly what the name says, you know, it just locks it in place. But it really wasn't that hard to put in, all things considered. So I was really impressed. All things considered, I really think it was worth the money, especially trailing rods. I'm happy that I left the 373 in, because you really gotta like see the difference. Feel the difference as far as like what it's doing, the difference as far as being under the same amount of power, being under the same gear ratio, what the chassis is actually doing. But it's just, you know, like I said, it's cold, but I'm not gonna push it too hard. But man, this really did the trick. I'm very, very happy with this. Now, what I will say is, you don't get the rough ride vertically, you get the rough ride horizontally, like laterally. It's weird and it's hard to explain. So you get the herky and jerky forward to backward, and I think that has to do with the mag ride. Now I think that you know, this is like coming into this corner, yeah, there's no flex, no body roll. For the most part, it's all solved. Like, it's not, it's kind of hard for me to explain, but yeah, for the most part, it's all solved, man. I mean, I'm very, very happy with what, there is still a little bit of flex. It's gonna come down to pretty much the tire and the gearing now. So, I'm trying to see if that car is following me. Woo! I think it might be just us on the road now. Now that I have done this, now I'm hoping it's just the temperatures are cold and I was getting on it. But I don't think it was too early. I mean, I think the car was decent temperature. I probably had like 20 miles into the drive, but I can feel the clutch slipping now. And that's bad, because one, it sets our power mods back, because, well, I'm just, you know, I'm not made of money. I'm sure most of you guys can relate, but that's just another issue that I'm gonna have to freaking go back and deal with. So it seems to be hooking up pretty well, as far as like if you just, you know, but it's when it's under like serious load. I mean, we're at 728 foot-pounds of torque that you're putting under this thing, and that 1.7 blower just comes in so freaking hard. Now, Justin at Killer Performance told me that this thing can handle like 800 to 850. I know it's about 100 horsepower premature, but everything, you know, all these motors are different, all these transmissions are different. They're just a little bit different from one another. When you're talking numbers like this, you're talking on average. So I don't know what's up, but this has got me hyper like paranoid about the clutch. So I'm thinking I might just go ahead and fix it now. That way, from the motor back, the only thing I got to worry about is the drive shaft and the axles, and those are really pretty simple to fix if something ever does go wrong. The clutch is going to be a different deal. But those of you that remember my 2019 SS1 LE, I'm not going to go back and do the S series. I think I'm gonna have to step it up and go with something a little bit more serious. So I'll be looking for a triple disc clutch. Probably gonna go with Monster again, but you know, I don't know. Things change, companies change, you know. So we'll check things out. If you guys have any recommendations, drop them below. I'll definitely check out whatever brand you guys have to say, or whatever brand you guys recommend. Yeah, you hear that? Do you hear that stutter? This car's never really been right, and anybody that's got like a new car, 22, 21, 22, pretty much since like COVID happened, I don't know, man. My 2019 was pretty good, but this car is just funky. My Umbra taillights were going crazy one day. Just after, if I don't drive the car, this thing acts funny, bizarre, and weird, which is kind of like, it's not normal, because I mean, you should be able to park your car for more than a week and have things not screw up like that. If I let it sit for more than a week, I'll get like a phantom check light, or check engine light, I'm sorry. The car will react weird, like I'll just stab it here, clutch in and stab the throttle. You hear that? It's definitely something I'm gonna have to just address in the future. So I think we're finally getting the car dialed in. I think we're on the road to be getting somewhere, but if a couple of those mods made that kind of a difference, then can you imagine what if we ordered the rest of BMR stuff? I just made a couple notes here. I just before I wrap the video up, I just want to touch base on a couple things. But like I said, the rain, when I started this project in the morning, it was only supposed to rain for like an hour, maybe 45 minutes or so, and it said light rain, and it rained for like over half the damn day. So over half this project I did in the rain. I was kind of running out of time, so I didn't get the ELSD installed. That's cool, because we'll just save it for next week, or another time. So the ease of installation on this stuff is it bolted right in. Now it is a different story as far as getting eyelet to eyelet, bolt mounting point to mounting point, getting the tie rods and everything's dialed in as close as you can get it without putting it on an alignment machine. Obviously you're going to need to take it to a shop and get, you know, the finishing touches on it, but seriously, this stuff bolted right in. The rear cradle lockout bushing kit, that was not too bad to put in. Now, I know I didn't get a lot of, actually I didn't get any footage of it, but dude, it's seriously super simple. All it is this Delron or Delphin or whatever, this super strong plastic. The stuff is light. It feels like you're holding like an aluminum little puck. It does work. I don't know how it's going to hold up over the test of time, but I'm going to tell you that stuff does work. The rear cradle bushing lockout kit it's worth the money. It's expensive for what you get, like I said, but it's pretty good. I feel the car doesn't want to jump around or shift whenever you like put that initial like large amount of power to it like right away. But for 350 bucks, 360 bucks, whatever it was, worth it. Especially the control arms, those trailing arms. Oh my god, after I saw, you know, the little flimsy pieces of crap that we get from factory, it was just like boom, it hit me. So, you know, trailing arms are supposed to absorb energy or kind of plant the tire in a longitudinal way, so from front to back they're supposed to control the power that way, or transition of power. So I kind of want to do that rear toe. You know, it just would make me feel better to have the tubular control arms, you know, going front to back, and then, you know, back to the rest of the back. But you kind of get what I'm saying. I feel like it's going to be strong one way but not the other, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get those ordered, and then we'll get it aligned. So they recommend an alignment after you do the lockout kit and after you do the trailing arms. Pretty much if you touch anything on the rear end or take anything off, you're technically supposed to get it realigned. So I think we're going to finish up and just put everything in the rear end. That way we only mess with it one time, and then it's all set. Touching base also on that rear cradle lockout kit, I read online that people were doing braces. Now the braces are a lot cheaper. They're 150 bucks, but the weight horsepower comes from the engine. And the best analogy that I can think is it's kind of like a drop, like a ripple going across the puddle. The drop hits it, it transfers, you know, that's the initial energy, and then it transfers the energy out, and that's the ripple effect. The power starts in from the engine, and it's going to work its way back. So how much power gets absorbed in random, you know, places as it's being distributed from the crankshaft to the rear tire is going to determine on the flex, and, you know, how many places that you have that can absorb it and lose power that way. It's parasitic drivetrain loss. So I kind of went with the bushings. I figured as the horsepower or energy is transferring from front to back, that's the first thing it's going to touch is those bushings. So if you can stop the energy loss at the bushings, you can always bolt on another brace or something after. And I kind of felt like it was a waste of money to do the braces without the bushings, because if you're not going to do the bushings, you're not going to do the point where it starts or where the energy loss is the highest, because that's the point of contact where the energy is going to be absorbed the most. What's the point? You're kind of wasting your money. Now that we've got the bushings in, if I need to, I can go ahead and throw those $150 braces on and finish up the structural rigidity or, you know, structural integrity or whatever, however you want to say it, for the rear end. Now that we've got metal on metal, as far as like the spherical bearings go, should have a lot more benefits. As far as I still have like 50% rubber bushings, like I said, on the knuckle itself. I can't get rid of that. I might be able to buy a different type of rubber or a different type of urethane or some other type of plastic to press out and put in place of that rubber bushing, but until I'm like seriously running into issues as far as traction and handling, I think I'm okay where I'm at. But I did it because I want to do like a hybrid, and I think that this is where the ZL1 is gonna shine over the ZL1 1LE, because the ZL1 1LE, from rumor, I haven't seen it myself, but the rear bushings are actually like aluminum, and I've kind of got that now, but I still have rubber. So even though it's a lockout kit, you're still losing some energy through them. I drove it before. I can tell you the loss is at a minimum now. So feel very, very confident in that situation as far as being like much more livable situation. I could see how the aluminum or the metal on metal would come into play, but you're not going to get that just jarring effect like you do from the 1LE package, because you can kind of tell, and people when they're trying to like maintain a sentence and it's you can tell like it's a really harsh ride, which it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I would daily a NASCAR if I wanted it bad enough, but I just don't feel like you need to go to that extreme in order to get the handling that you want. Because honestly, this car, when it had all the wiggle and jiggle and flex and play in the back, it was an amazing handling car to start with. So it's just kind of the power was overwhelming it. Now we need to bring the rigidity back to where it was when it first started. Obviously, we're going to keep playing with these suspension upgrades, these suspension mods. I don't feel like we need to do a whole lot more at the current power level that we're at. It seems to be handling it really well. The Supercar 3 is still digging in, but like I said, it's like 50 degrees. The weather here is just, it's been trash this year. So it will get better. The wind's just, man, just freaking cruising today. So we're gonna, you know, another 6 weeks or whatever, we'll come in some nicer weather, and then we'll finally be able to really like start testing some 60 to 130s. Like I said, I did bring my GoPro today, but it's kind of useless since my clutch is slipping, and I don't want to make the situation any worse. So I still want to be able to drive the car, still kind of want to be able to take it out and enjoy it a little bit, and you know, go here, go there, do whatever I want, and you know, still be able to, you know, mess around a little bit. But I'm telling you, under full load, when the car sticks and hooks to the road now, it's slipping. I can hear it and I can feel it. The floor pan. I keep wanting to say floor pan, but I guess, yeah, you can call it floor pan in this car. But yeah, you can feel it through the floor. Other than that, guys, subscribe, like the video. I really hope you guys are having an awesome day. Take care. Comment below. I'll answer any questions. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Till then, we'll see you. Bye.